There are 3 things I have learned working on my own projects and helping others with theirs. Completing any meaningful task in life often comes down to 3 simple but powerful things: asking the right questions, surrounding yourself with the right community, and giving yourself a deadline. The right question saves you from moving in circles, going in the wrong direction. The right community gives you support, wisdom, and courage that you need when you are feeling lost or overwhelmed. And deadlines create the urgency, accountability needed to stop you from dreaming and finally take action. Many are not stuck because they lack the talent. They are stuck because they are trying to figure everything out alone, without clarity, without support, without commitment. But when all these 3 come together, progress becomes possible. Now let's shine a spotlight on each of these 3. Welcome to the Minute Mastery Podcast, a conversational productivity and time management podcast where busy authors and entrepreneurs are inspired to create time for what truly matters. I'm your host, Ngozi Edema. I'm a time management coach, writer, and entrepreneur. Here, you are encouraged to turn your minutes into milestones and to create at least 1 hour a day working on your goals without feeling overwhelmed. And since you are here, I thought I'd let you know of a storybook to gift your favorite kids. Once upon a time, and they lived happily ever after. Children love those phrases. I love them too, and I suspect you may love them too. As a mom, I've spent hours reading and listening to my children read their favorite stories, and now I write stories too. Here is one of them you may want to check out: The Proud Sunflower. It is the story of Princess Sanzu, the Sunflower Princess, a princess loved by all, but who got into trouble. Within the pages of The Proud Sunflower, you encounter what real beauty is. Your kid will love the beautiful story and powerful illustrations. The Proud Sunflower serves as a gentle reminder that we all need to stand on the shoulders of others to succeed. So, read this story with your little ones and allow it to illuminate the universal language of empathy, forgiveness, and personal growth. The Proud Sunflower is a top book of parenting, morals, and responsibility, and it's available on the Kindle store and on paperback formats. Excellent for beginner readers. Click in this episode show notes or in the description on YouTube to order yours. And check out my other storybooks to read with your kids, or gift a child a storybook if you do not have kids of your own. Asking the right questions saves you time. Let me tell you a personal experience. When I moved to England for the first time, one of the biggest things I had to learn was using the London Underground for the very first time. I still remember holding that little booklet with all the different colored lines going in different directions. Blue lines, red lines, green lines. It looked confusing and overwhelming. In those early days in England, I was trying to get to Leighton, a suburb in East London. The friend I was meeting up with had told me to get on the Central Line. That was the only reason I even knew where to start. But honestly, I still had no idea, was I headed east or west? Standing there with 2 young children, I got on the wrong platform. Deep down inside me, I felt something wasn't quite right. I could have asked the people at the ticket kiosk. I could have asked another passenger. But I was too embarrassed. I was scared of looking foolish. So instead of asking questions, I stayed quiet and I got on the train anyway. A few stops later, I looked up and looked at the map inside the train, and suddenly I realized something terrible had just happened. I was heading further away from my destination. Now, I was now panicking. At that point, I had no choice but to ask questions. I finally asked the gentleman sitting next to me for help. Thankfully, he was very kind. He calmly explained where to get off and how to get on the correct platform, which I did. And that experience taught me something I have never forgotten. Number one, there is absolutely no shame in asking for help. Most people are too busy dealing with their own lives to spend time thinking about you or judging what you do. The fear is usually bigger in our minds than in reality. Number two, if you realize you are on the wrong train, you do not have to stay on it. You can get off. You can change direction. You can start all over again. Imagine staying on that train heading west when I was supposed to be going east because I'm too embarrassed to admit I have just made a mistake. Yet, that is how so many people live their life. They stay on the wrong direction because they already invested time and money into it. They stay stuck because they are afraid of what people will think. People are not thinking anything. They keep going even when their heart is telling them this is not where they are meant to be. And third, it is never too late to change direction. If you're on the wrong train, get off the train and get on the right platform. You are not disqualified because you made a wrong turn. Sometimes the smartest thing you can ever do for you is to pause long enough to ask the right questions. Questions save time. Questions save energy. Questions can completely change your direction. So if you are feeling stuck right now, if you are feeling lost right now, if you are feeling unsure right now, if you feel like everyone else understands the map except you, please hear me out. You do not have to figure everything out alone. You can ask questions, you can get help, you can change the direction if you need to. Because one wrong train does not mean your journey is over. The second thing you need is the right community. One thing I learned from my underground experience in England was this: the right people can save you hours, sometimes even years of going in the wrong direction. Think about it this way. The moment I finally asked someone for help, everything changed. I did not suddenly become smarter. The map did not magically become easier. The train system did not change. What changed was this: I connected with someone who understood the journey better than I did. Honestly, that is the power of the right community. Too many people are trying to build their dreams in isolation. They are sitting alone in confusion, alone with self-doubt, alone with fear, alone with questions they are too afraid to ask. But growth happens faster when you are surrounded by people who are either going in the same direction, have already gone where you want to go, or are willing to help you find your way. A good community shortens the learning curve. A good community reminds you that you are not the only one figuring things out. A good community gives you courage on the days you are feeling like quitting. And sometimes the biggest transformation is not even in the information. It is in the confidence that comes from hearing me too. It is relatable. I struggle with that as well. You are not behind. You can do this. The wrong environment can make you feel foolish for dreaming bigger, but the right environment stretches you, sharpens you, and reminds you of who you are becoming. That is why the right community matters. Not because people will do the work for you, you will still have to put in the work, but because the right people can help you stop traveling in circles. Imagine how much time we would all save if we stop pretending to have to know everything before we begin. Imagine how much further we would all go if we allowed ourselves to learn openly. Sometimes one conversation changes everything. One mentor, one room, one encouraging voice, one honest answer, and suddenly you realize you were never stuck. You just needed better directions. So if you have been trying to do this alone, this is your reminder. You do not have to. Find people who will challenge you to grow. Find people who will celebrate your progress. Find people who are honest enough to correct your direction when needed. Because the right community does not just change your journey, sometimes it changes your entire destination. Our third point is the power of deadlines, and this is even the most important of the three. There is something powerful about deadlines, not because deadlines are magical, not because deadlines not because deadlines force decisions. Without a deadline, it is easy to keep saying someday. When life calms down, when I feel more confident, when the kids are older, when I have more money, when I know more. But the problem with someday is that it never comes, that it quietly turns into years. I have also realized something. Most people do not struggle because they lack dreams. They struggle because their dreams have no timeline. A deadline creates movement. Think about it. You can avoid cleaning the house for days until someone says they are visiting tomorrow. Suddenly, you find the energy you thought you did not have. You even find the time to clean the house. So, you can delay starting any project for months until you publicly announce it. Now there is accountability. Deadlines create urgency. Urgency creates focus. Focus creates action. And action changes lives. That is why I encourage people to set dates. So please go grab your calendar. Put a date on your calendar, your start date and your end date. Not because everything has to be perfect by then, but because a date gives your dream a destination. Even publishing platforms understand this. One thing I have noticed about best-selling authors is that many of them put their books on pre-order months before release. Why? Because a deadline forces momentum. Once the date is set, they move differently, they write differently, they promote differently, they prioritize differently. The deadline becomes a commitment. And honestly, many of us need that commitment, because without structure, fear will keep negotiating with us forever. Fear will always say, wait a little longer. You are not ready yet. Maybe next year. But deadlines interrupt hesitation. Now, of course, life happens, and sometimes you have a deadline that you need to adjust. Sometimes the journey takes longer than expected. That is okay. A delayed dream is better than an abandoned one. The goal is not perfection. The goal is progress. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do for you is to give yourself permission to stop endless preparation and finally begin working. So maybe today is the day you stop saying someday or one day, and instead you say, by this date, I will take the next step. Maybe your deadline is finishing the first chapter, launching the podcast, posting your first video, registering the business, starting the course, writing the outline, joining the community, whatever it is that step is. Give your dream a calendar date, because dreams grow differently when they are attached to commitment, and you may discover that the thing you were waiting for was simply a decision to begin. I am so excited to officially open the doors to the Midlife Book Launch Lab, my signature program designed to help midlife women finally turn their children's book ideas into published book in just 90 days. I'm looking for a small group of committed women who are ready to stop procrastinating, stop doubting themselves, and finally bring their stories to life. In just 90 days, you'll go from I've always wanted to write a children's book to holding a complete manuscript and confidently moving toward your publication. Using the exact step-by-step framework I have refined through publishing my own books and coaching aspiring authors. I have seen women move from confusion and overwhelm to finally gaining clarity, structure, confidence, and momentum around their book dreams. Even after years of putting themselves last. This round is first come, first serve basis. Inside the Midlife Book Launch Lab, you'll get weekly coaching, accountability, practical publishing guidance, and supportive community of women walking the same path as you. No fluff, no endless overthinking, just consistent progress. This program is tested, practical, designed for busy women, even if you only have 1 hour a day to work on your book. If you're ready to finally become the author you know you are meant to be, comment, let's go, and I'll send you the details. Thanks for tuning in to the Minute Mastery Podcast. If you have found this episode helpful, please share it with someone who could use more time in their day. And remember to subscribe, check out the links in this episode's show notes, and leave us a review. Until next time, you are in control of your time and you got this.